If Adam Silver doesn't punish Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers to the fullest extent, I think he needs to be removed from his position. Welcome in or welcome back. This whole Kawhi Leonard aspiration Clippers saga has gotten way too out of control. And while it has been going on for a while, the reason I'm making this video now is that two separate reports have come out. The first one is from Tom Haverstraw, who's saying that the NBA is considering punishing the team, and they would do that by stripping their draft picks, banning Steve Ballmer from the arena, and invalidating Kawhi Leonard's contract, making him an unrestricted free agent. But then shortly after, a second report came out that said that this was probably going to be a more Kawhi-centric punishment. And what I'm here to tell you is that it needs to be both, and Adam Silver needs to give Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers the sports death penalty. Now, as it pertains to the aspiration saga, everything is still being investigated, so I will say that this is all alleged. And if you haven't yet, I strongly suggest going over to Pablo Torre Finds Out, where he did a bunch of great investigative journalism. If it wasn't for him and all the work that he did, we're probably not talking about this now, so you can go find all of his shows on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. But I will give you a bit of a TLDR, and again, all of this is alleged. So after the Toronto Raptors won the championship in 2019, led by Kawhi Leonard, there were three teams that he could have realistically went to. He could have went back to Toronto, he could have went to the Los Angeles Lakers, or he could have gone to the Clippers. And if the rumors are to be believed, he wanted to go to the Lakers. If he was going to go to the Clippers or the Raptors, he needed a little extra push. And the little extra push that he needed was some no-show contracts where he didn't have to do anything at all. He could sign some jerseys and call it a day. And in doing so, raking in tons of cash. Toronto was not so keen on doing that, but the Clippers seemed like they were. Kawhi Leonard, after inking a deal with the Los Angeles Clippers, then went on to sign a deal with Aspiration to the tune of $28 million. Now, it's important to note that not only did Kawhi Leonard sign a contract with Aspiration, but Steve Ballmer himself was also an investor in the company. It should also be noted now that Aspiration is now bankrupt. The story goes that Kawhi Leonard signed with the Clippers and also got a little bit on the side with the Aspiration deal. And again, according to the Pablo Torre's findings, it seems a little suspicious when Kawhi Leonard went out with an injury. If you track the business dealings of Aspiration when Kawhi Leonard was out with an injury, a couple days after they made a payment directly to Kawhi Leonard or his subsidies and his business deals, he came back to the court, which seems very suspicious to me. And it gets even more suspicious than that, because as more time passes and more information comes out, it seems more and more likely that Steve Ballmer, indirectly or very directly, knew about the Aspiration deal, knew about the no-show deals with Kawhi Leonard, and potentially signed off on it. There have been multiple emails, text messages, and voicemails alluding to the fact that either Steve Ballmer directly told somebody to make anything happen to get Kawhi Leonard, or he signed off on this no-show deal to funnel money into the company so he could then pay Kawhi Leonard indirectly off the salary cap books. So again, if all of this turns out to be true, I think that the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard both need the sports death penalty, because there's no way that you can allow a billionaire owner to circumvent the salary cap like that, get a star on his team, and essentially get a slap on the wrist. And then if you're Kawhi Leonard, you can't sit there and be able to be a benefactor of all this fraud and circumvention going on and still walk away scot-free. Now, luckily, there is a bit of precedence in this because it happened under David Stern's NBA with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Following the 99-2000 season, it was discovered that Joe Smith was part of a salary cap circumvention scheme with the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were going to sign him to 3 one-year deals worth about $3 million apiece to then allow him to gain bird rights. And at the end of that third year, once the bird rights were in full effect, he was going to sign a multi-year $86 million deal. Super illegal in the NBA. Salary cap circumvention to a T. And I know that some of you watching this video may be too young to remember David Stern's NBA, but he ran that shit like a prison. He fined the Timberwolves $3.5 million. He suspended Glenn Taylor and Kevin McHale. And most importantly, in this scenario, at the time, they stripped 5 future first-round picks for the Timberwolves. Originally, it was every first-round draft pick from 2001 to 2005, but eventually 2003 and 2005 were given back to the Timberwolves. And it turns out that that was a huge turning point in Minnesota Timberwolves history, because during that time, when the Timberwolves were bad and they were losing, even though they had Kevin Garnett, they couldn't add other young talent to surround Kevin Garnett with, so they couldn't get any better. And ultimately, Kevin Garnett left Minnesota because of it. And the cherry on top, and the funniest thing about this whole saga, is that they did this for Joe Smith, who was a perfectly fine player, but certainly was not living up to the expectations of being a #1 pick just a few years prior. The year before coming to Minnesota, he was averaging 15 points a game. Perfectly fine, but those are role player numbers. Now, when you shift it back to the Clippers saga, the Clippers did it to get one of the top 7, top 5 best basketball players on the entire planet, who went on a generational run to the finals, won the championship, and the finals MVP. The billionaire ownership group of the Clippers decided that they were going to do anything possible to get Kawhi Leonard because, as an organization throughout their history, they have been mediocre at best. And they wanted to change that narrative, no matter the cost. Again, if all of this turns out to be true, it seems very likely that Steve Ballmer either very directly knew or indirectly allowed for all of these shenanigans to happen, all the circumvention, all the fraud, everything. He allowed it to happen to get Kawhi Leonard and to retain his services. And I am fully willing to believe that there is an opportunity for him to have not known anything about it. But when he himself was an investor into Aspiration and he was funneling millions of dollars into the company, I just have a really hard time believing that he didn't know. And if we look at Kawhi Leonard again, the way that he decided to take his breaks with his injury or load management, lining up with him getting paid by Aspiration and then making his way back to the court, that seems like extortion to me. That seems like him saying, I will not play for your organization unless you pay me. Get on the ball. Adam Silver has gotten into a lot of hot water recently for a lot of reasons. He has not had a great run of being a commissioner of a league so far. He had a great run a couple years ago, but now it's sour grapes. But I think he truly has an opportunity to turn that around right here. But you have to come down really hard on the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. How hard, you ask? I'll tell you, if I were the commissioner and it were up to me, the first thing I would do is strip the Clippers of their next 5 available first-round picks. Of course, some of those picks have already been sent out to other teams. So, from a fresh, clean slate, 2030 to 2035, you no longer have a first-round pick. I also think that you need to force Steve Ballmer to sell the team and ban him from ever buying a team ever again. And then, of course, anybody that is downstream from Steve Ballmer that had any hand in all of this backhanded dealing, they need to be banned as well. And then for Kawhi Leonard, you obviously need to void his contract, but still keep it on the books for salary so you can't work around it. And I also think that Kawhi Leonard needs to be banned for the rest of this year and next year as well, because we absolutely cannot live in a world where a powerful businessman like Steve Ballmer and one of the best basketball players on the planet like Kawhi Leonard could just get away with something like this. Again, all of this is alleged, but if there is a shred of truth in any of this, if this comes out in the wash that they had some involvement in this, Kawhi Leonard essentially extorting the Clippers for payment, and if the Clippers were circumventing the salary cap, you cannot let them get away with it. If you're Adam Silver and you want your reputation back as a sheriff like David Stern was, you throw the book at Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer. As more time passes, it seems like we're going to get very close very soon to a decision by Adam Silver, but what do you think he's going to do? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, check my description. Got a link tree with all of my socials: Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm literally everywhere you can think of. I also have a Discord community that I would love for you to be a part of. That's going to do it for me today. Be kind, tell somebody you love them, and we'll see you in the next one.
Barely scraping by, trying to stop puffing. I'm trying to be one of the greats.